Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting for October 22nd. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing on our agenda are our minutes. Gentlemen, do you have any additions or corrections?
No.
I move to approve the proceedings of Board of County Commissioners for Montezuma County Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, October 8th, 2024. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, planning, come on down.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
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 All I have today is the variance document that needs to be signed for the variance that was approved on J.75 a couple weeks ago. So I just need to have you sign it.
That's it?
That's it.
One? Wow, okay. Mm-hmm. Do we have any other items for discussion?
Not today.
Okay,
Short and sweet.
short and sweet.
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, next we have our public comment session. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes you to this meeting. Person speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all the members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. And with that, the public comment session is open.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Eleanor McFarland.
Can you pull that mic, get it as close as you can, because that way everybody can hear it?
My name is Eleanor McFarland. I live at 18405 Road P.2, Cortez. I have a letter that I'd like to read. Dear Montezuma County Commissioners, with this letter we are proposing an amendment to Montezuma County Resolution Number 2, 2015, which is titled Resolution in Support of Renewable Energy. Our request has grown from the Commissioners' Town Hall meeting held in Pleasant View on Monday, October 7, 2024, which you yourselves initiated. We propose to amend the operative whereas paragraph number 4 to read as follows. Whereas, per the Montezuma County Land Use Code, renewable energy, hydroelectric, solar, or wind farms are a use by right under industrial zone parcels. Thank you. Please strike the phrase "and agricultural/residential AR" in parenthesis from the operative whereas paragraph number 4. In defense of our proposal, we offer these excerpts from existing county documents. Number 1, using agricultural land for renewable energy, hydroelectric, solar, or wind farms is contrary to the provisions that protect agricultural lands within Montezuma County. We've listed the relevant subparagraphs, which I'm sure you already know. Number 2, utility scale solar facilities fit on industrial zone land per Chapter 3, 3312.1 and 3312.3 of the Montezuma County Land Use Code. They are not farms. Farms grow food and grains and livestock. It has become necessary to differentiate between utility-scale solar facilities and other solar uses on agricultural land. Number 3, the phrases established large-scale agriculture and the agricultural land and open space aesthetic are listed as strengths identified in the Montezuma County Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. In the same document, a 2019 employment study showed agriculture ranking 5th highest in county employment. Utility-scale solar facilities do not fit on agricultural land. And number 4, an historic economy driver and the backbone of county industry are terms referring to Montezuma County agriculture in our Montezuma County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. Let's make sure that remains true in the future. We have the following attendees at the Commissioners' Town Hall meeting at Pleasant View, Colorado on Monday, October 7th, 2024. Respectfully submit our request. And we have a number of signatures here with names and addresses also. That's it.
All right, thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Landon Wilson, 25227 Road 14, Pleasant View, Colorado. I'm in here in addition to the resolution that was passed in 2015 by Commissioners Ertel and Sukla. I just encourage you guys to look into that resolution, amending it, and not putting it on ag land. As you guys are well aware, agriculture is a high economic factor in Montezuma County, and seeing that ag land go into large-scale industrial facilities would be a major loss for my generation as well as future generations. And I just encourage you guys to really look into amending this and striking out ag lands as part of that resolution that was passed in 2015. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. All right. Seeing no further public comment, I'll close the public comment session of this meeting, and we will go right straight into our department reports. Social Services. Come on down, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly. I mean, Laurie, jeez. I don't know why I said Kelly. That's Kelly over there.
Kelly's over there.
I was giggling.
All right, you want to go ahead and take care of these, Commissioner?
I'm not sure I trust myself to do that. I would so move we approve the minutes of the regular session of the Board of Record of Proceedings for Montezuma County Social Services for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. And also the financials in the amount of $1,359,167.43.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to accept the record of proceedings for the Department of Social Services for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, and the payables for September of 24 in the amount of $1,359,167.43. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. What else do you have for us?
Good morning. Just a couple updates. I wanted to let you know that Alex Blackie attended the Costa Conference in Telluride, which was really great for her to go see what's happening as far as public transportation across the state and our local region. She came back with lots of information and ideas, so that was great. We also have had our CDOT inspections this week, so she's been busy making sure all the vehicles are ready to rock and roll there. Senior services updates. We have hired a cook for Dolores. That cook is training this week in Cortez so that she can be prepared to start next week in Dolores. I know that's exciting and it'll make Dolores happy. We also had a AAA, Area Agency on Aging Director site visit a couple weeks ago. Ricardo Martinez is now the AAA Director. He came down, visited our site, and chatted with myself and Carmen, our new Senior Services Program Manager. So that was very positive. And we've also rejuvenated our Senior Services Advisory Board and have wonderful representation from all 3 sites. And we had our first meeting 2 weeks ago, and it went really well. So things are trucking right along in Senior Services. As far as other departmental numbers remain the same as far as economic security and eligibility. Nothing too crazy has been going on. We do have a site visit from the state on permanency and Medicaid changes on Thursday. That'll be really informative, and I look forward to having some of those discussions about kinship legislation, new Medicaid changes, things of that nature. And then we had our 3rd adoption audit this week on Tuesday, and I'm happy to say that we passed with a 91%, which is great. We won't have another adoption audit for 3 years, so that's exciting.
Very good. So I have a question on the transportation, the bus. I know that last time Shane was in here, he reported that they didn't total that bus and that they were in the process of revisiting it. Where do we stand with that brand new bus?
It is getting fixed. It is in the shop as we speak.
Any timeline?
I don't know a timeline. I actually haven't heard. That's great for me to follow up on.
So it will be back in service then?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And I did receive wrap estimates on Sunday. I haven't had time to review them, but I do plan to get on the agenda for the working session to talk about wraps for all of MOCO vehicles.
So the ones that we did get wrapped, 2 of them, correct?
2
were
that are wrapped? I think there's only 1 that's wrapped.
Or 1 that was wrapped?
Yep, so we got bids for the 6 other vehicles. So I'd like to bring that in front of you once I'm able to review those and think about the best plan forward.
Okay. All right, very good. Questions, gentlemen?
Laurie, Kelly, thank you.
All right, thank you all. All right, jumping down into unfinished business, we have a request for a tax abatement. That was taken care of yesterday in the workshop. So we'll move right on by that. The Backcountry Search and Rescue County Allocation Grant Award, Mr. Dobry.
This is the state county, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife County allocation for search and rescue. They allocate it by county. When you approved this on 6/25, we didn't know the amount because the amount's kind of based on the state splitting it up by county. The amount that the county are being awarded is $27,513, which search and rescue would like to use for a vehicle and accessories and installation and upfit of that vehicle. Yesterday, Kirk Underwood described what they're looking for is a pickup that can tow their emergency trailer.
Any questions?
No.
Gentlemen?
No, I don't have any. He was wanting to actually pool their money for a couple of years to get enough money to buy it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
there wouldn't
because
be any money expended this next year. It's a
27,000 is not gonna buy it.
it's a 2-year grant, and then they're the same award plus they have the potential for other funding. But the idea is to pool and put that money towards a vehicle.
Yeah, because they've been using their own vehicles to pull that trailer with. So
The
the
new trailer?
volunteers have
Yeah.
their
Their new trailer,
their- Yeah, so they're wanting to get a vehicle that they can actually pull that, because it needs to be at least a 3/4 ton, and sometimes they have a hard time coming up with a vehicle to pull it, so that's what they're wanting, to pool this money over a couple of years to get, to
So
be
we-
able to buy that vehicle.
So we don't really have any action today anyway. This has already been approved. We approved the grant. We just now know the allocation of the funds.
You would just be authorizing Commissioner Candelaria to sign the budget form that we'll have to send back to search or to statewide search and rescue.
Okay.
I would so move we authorize the chairman to sign the budget allocation for Backcountry Search and Rescue County Grant Award.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to have Chairman Candelaria sign the 2-year budget award for search and rescue in the amount of $27,513. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Very good. Hazardous mitigation plan, are you going to
I can stay up and
talk
do
about this
all
one
three
too?
grants, yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to this one.
So what the ask is at its core, and Jim Spratling gave you a couple options, but what he's asking for, you in 20, let's see, sorry.
It was 2023?
Yeah, in 2023, you previously approved a hazard mitigation planning and development grant for the amount of $50,000 with a cash match of $6,250 and an in-kind match in time, not just county time, but also community time, volunteer time. After speaking with the funder and looking at the grants or at the hazard mitigation plans that have been done more recently, $50,000 is not enough to cover that grant, and what the emergency manager is asking is to increase that amount to $80,580.76, which would increase your cash match by $3,314.43. And of course, like any bid, once it goes out to bid, you would take the lowest reasonable one. He just wants to make sure that the grant covers the full amount and that we don't end up with a situation where all the bids come in above the grant and then either the county has to make up the difference or you have to cancel and start over.
Okay. Any question?
No.
Just hard to imagine it costs that much to do this,
Yeah.
especially since we already have one to begin with and all you're doing is updating it.
So the ask, the increase for us is just less than the $5,000, the $3,500 basically.
Yeah, 3314.43. That's the difference between the 6250 cash that was originally approved
Yeah.
and the 9564.43 cash that.
Which
was-
increases the grant by basically $30,000.
Yes.
I mean, one of the interesting things with this is anybody who bids on this project knows how much, or if they're educated, knows how much is allocated through this grant. And so if you raise this amount of money, you can probably anticipate that you're going to get higher bids. And so, I mean, it brings an interesting question. I mean, maybe if nobody wants to bid within the amount of money that's available, maybe we stick with the plan we have. I don't know.
We don't have to approve this. This is just a grant submission form. Which, exactly, we're showing the numbers prematurely before anybody even bids on it.
You know, everything else we put out on bids. Why can't we do this? Well,
I mean, we certainly could. I mean, we certainly could, and then, you know, I
Why
guess
can't
this
we do
decision
that?
would come before you. I don't know.
Why can't we just offer this thing up for bids and see what we get?
So what was his, obviously, I wasn't here yesterday, so I apologize for that. But just because he was looking at other submissions that have already been presented?
He spoke with the funder and the grants that they have done, the updates to plans that they have done in Colorado over the last year, 18 months, and they all have been over $50,000.
Were they all comparable communities, sizes, population?
From what he said yesterday, yes.
This is just mind-boggling when you look at this amount of money to create, in essence, what's more red tape in this county.
We don't have to accept it.
I'm like Ian, you know, if we approve this grant for this amount of money, I'll guarantee you what, that's what the bid's gonna be. I mean, that's what I would bid.
So then
If I was in the opposite position of doing this.
So what I am hearing right now, if I'm correct, that we will just move on by this, we'll leave it at the 2023 plan, the $50,000, what was approved in 2023, and if I'm hearing that correctly.
Yes.
I think we should just put it out for bids.
Okay.
Okay,
There
I'll
you
talk
go.
to him about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll go by this grant submission form. Okay, are you gonna do the letters of support also? Or is that just,
The health department
oh,
one is the
got it.
last one I was.
So we'll move
looking at.
down the line for the emergency food shelter pantry grant. It
This
won't
is.
quite be in order.
This is a grant program that's being managed by the Good Food Collective, but it's a federal emergency food and shelter program. The health department is asking to apply for $10,000 to support their food pantry through the rest of the year. There's no match or additional funds required. They are already spending money on the food pantry, so this would abate some of those costs.
Question?
No, I would so move we approve the Emergency Food and Shelter Program Food Pantry Grant.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the grant application submission form for the Public Health Department for reimbursement in the amount of $10,000 for the Healthy Foods for Food Pantry Grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. All right, we will go back now for letters of support for the internet service providers seeking broadband equity access for deployment funding. These were all presented yesterday
Yes,
by Region 9, I believe.
right.
And we have to the broadband office, I think it's for Clear Networks, and I think it was for farmers, if I remember right.
Nimbus and Emory.
Yeah,
Oh, and Emory.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, there's
four of
four.
them. Each one of them have a separate area within the county.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
I move to sign these letters of support for internet service providers seeking broadband equity, access, and deployment funding from the Colorado Broadband Office.
second, oh, sorry, Gerald, go ahead.
Do we need to name these?
Just name them.
For
Yeah.
Emory Telecom, Nimbus Solutions, Clearwork, Clear Network, and Farmers Telephone Company are the four.
I'll second that.
So it's been moved and seconded to sign the letters of support and sent to the Colorado Broadband Office for Farmers Telephone, Clear Networks, Nimbus Solutions, and Emory Telecom. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll sign those here in a second. All right. Inmate Health Services renewal, that,
We're gonna pass that one, Commissioner, because we're gonna work with the sheriff to see if we can reduce some costs.
okay, and this was for Southern Health Partners, I presume?
Yes,
All right. The VFW, we're passing on that too. That was
Yes, sir.
just going to the
We've got that addressed.
department head.
yeah.
All right. And now we're down to the appointment of the new Fair Board members. We did have interviews last week. We have 4 openings. And we are going to appoint 2 4-year positions, Jim Mitchell, Bobby Hunter, Felicia Herman, Amanda Higgins, and we are going to appoint 2 alternates so that they have people in place if somebody does leave the board, Devon Kingery and Logan Hindmarsh. And those are the 6 that will be appointed to the Fair Board for this next term cycle. All
So
those in,
I would move that we appoint these named folks to the Fair Board.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to appoint the above named names to the Fair Board for a 4-year term. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And now we have an executive session. Do you have the paper?
Yes. I would so move we go into executive session for a conference with the attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS Section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move into executive session for the purpose of receiving legal advice under CRS Section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B. And included in there will be Clerk and Recorder Purcell, Commissioners Copenhaver, Candelaria, Lindsay, Attorney McLaren, Administrator Anderson, and is there any others?
We'll also have our Assistant County Attorney, Stephen Tarnowski.
Okay,
And the purpose of the purpose of the executive session is to discuss specific legal options in light of the sheriff overspending his budget.
okay. And with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I move we come out of executive session.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to terminate executive session and enter back into our regular board meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are back to our regular board meeting now, and we are to our county attorney's report. Mr. McLaren.
It's been a busy past couple weeks. On October 15th, I filed a notice of appeal with the Colorado Court of Appeals in our unemployment benefits case. And so that has been filed, and now we'll just await a briefing schedule from the Court of Appeals on that matter. Last 2 weeks, I've been working pretty closely with Rob Engelhart with our road department. Rob's taken a couple different trips down Road 41 to look at specific portions of fencing that may be within the right-of-way, but there might be some reasons to leave. It's very small portions, but there's a couple portions of fence that that are right on a significant bank that allowing those portions to stay actually would be beneficial for stopping erosion. There's a large barn down there that there may be a place that it might make sense to leave some fencing in place in the right-of-way because it won't necessarily hinder maintenance, but because that barn infrastructure is there, it might make sense to stay. So I feel like those discussions have been fruitful. Rob and Juniel Hurst have been down there, like I said, a couple times. We've talked to the attorneys for PACS, and they've been very receptive and good to work with. I mean, they certainly understand that nothing can be in the right-of-way. But that maybe there's some places where it might make some sense to leave fence in. So I talked to Rob yesterday. He hasn't been down there in about a week, but I assume that there's boots on the ground moving fence right now. Hopefully that's the case. We'll get an update soon. I provided a training to our appointed board members on October 15th here in the evening. I thought that training went very, very well. I talked to, it wasn't very well attended. We only had 4 people there, which was unfortunate, but the 4 people that were there, we had 3 people from cemetery districts, from different cemetery districts, and then somebody from our Planning and Zoning Commission. And I thought that the training was very helpful. It was interesting in talking to those folks. Their knowledge of public meeting laws was very, very low. And so even some of those basic things that I explained were very helpful. I'm doing another training for board members on November 12th, and we're going to record that training. It'll be the same training, and then my advice would be to take that video in the future and show it to every single board member you appoint, because and I don't think I was aware of just how little was known out there, and it makes sense when you think about it. I mean, a lot of these boards are volunteer members, and they don't necessarily know open meetings laws. And so hopefully this will be helpful.
I think that's part of our responsibility is when we appoint these members.
Absolutely.
We
It
should
is, and I
educate.
think that was one of the letters that we received, and since we just made appointments earlier in this meeting today, Travis, make sure that we invite those people to that training specifically so that we can hopefully get them on board, because they are spending.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and then we had a lot of great
$100.
questions from the people who were here, and I thought that everybody walked out with a way better understanding. And I mean, I feel comfortable that those boards that were represented will have the assets to move forward in a much better way.
What was the date you're doing the next one?
It is November 12th, and we've got that letter that went out to via email to all those members. So I would just forward that letter to them, maybe. We've got our jailhouse death case involving Kelroy Newman, who's deceased. Summary judgment briefing on that case was completed last week. There was a motion for summary judgment filed by us, and so that matter is before the court, and it's ripe for decision. I think it's anticipated by our insurance carrier that that will probably be scheduled for hearing, and I don't know when that hearing will take place. It'll probably be a couple months, knowing the pace at which things move. But all of that summary judgment briefing has been completed in that matter, and that was all done last week. Our severance tax lawsuit, the state filed a motion for an extension of time to respond to the complaint that was filed by the consortium of counties that joined in that complaint. On October 11th, the court issued an order granting that motion, and so the state now has until November 18th, 2024 to respond to that complaint. So a little over a month, or a little less than a month before they'll respond. Our Ironwood case, if you'll remember, we had filed the motion to reduce the fines to judgment. We did get a response from Ironwood on, the response to our motion on October 18th. On that same day, the court issued an order inviting reply from CDPHE and from the county, and gave us 21 days to submit that reply. And so I'm working on that right now. We may not even take the full 21 days. I think in essence, what Ironwood argued was that the fines weren't appropriate in light of law and some impossibility standards. They cited a lot of reasons, but ultimately, whether the fines were or weren't appropriate at this point is completely irrelevant. The legal question before the court is whether those fines can be reduced to judgment. And I mean, I think the law is very clear that they can, and so we'll get that reply submitted shortly, and as soon as we get an order on that, I'll let you guys know. We've got briefing in the dollar store case that's going to be coming in at the end of this month, and then we'll have about a month to respond to that. And so as soon as that comes in, I'll give it a look and get started on that. At this point, I think that's all that I have to report.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Travis?
Pretty busy week, a lot of administrative things. I won't delve into it, but I did get a lot of follow-up emails, phone calls from some national news on the Chicken Creek aspect, but I'll let the commissioners address that if you want. Referred them to the sheriff and Forest Service. Done some financial reviews. The range down by the landfill has been secured. We found that the gate was off, and risk management, we couldn't get any IGAs, so we secured that for sheriff's office purposes only. That was done yesterday. Had a CIP transition meeting with the city of Cortez and Mancos. One thought that we might keep some skin in the game was we'll just maintain the CIP van versus transitioning it over to the city or Mancos, whoever oversees that program. We'll just maintain it and keep it if that's something the commissioners are wanting to do. And then we're going to start working on our VSO. Obviously, we lost one, and we'll re-advertise it. And then the last thing I have is the payables for September. So general fund, $996,063.05. Road and bridge, $1,076,573.27. Public health, $177,376.68. Capital fund, $98,784.82. Administration fund, nothing. Landfill fund, $225,696.83. Check register total, $2,574,464.65. Social services, $1,359,167.43, with a total of $3,933,632.08.
I would so move we approve the payables for the county in the amount of $3,933,632.08.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the payables presented for the month of September 1st through September 30th in an amount of $3,933,632.08. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very good. Thank you, Travis. Commissioner Lindsay.
I do not have much to report, but we did meet as a group and interviewed Fair Board members and ended up appointing all the applicants. So I wish to appreciate those people and their time for coming and sitting through an interview. I think we have set a good Fair Board and wish them all the success coming up this next year. And I have city council tonight, and that's about all I have. And I won't be here next week, so.
Thank you. Commissioner Copenhaver.
Since our last meeting on October the 8th, we had a meeting at Southwest Water Conservation Board over in Durango, going through our budget and process over there and where we are on as far as our evaluations and stuff with the employees and all that stuff is happening right now at Southwest. So basically looking at different possibilities is how to help the Colorado engineer is basically on water. They're developing new rules for this whole area. And so in order to help people meet those new requirements, I think we'll be looking at some different ways that we can possibly do some kind of a grant program or something through Southwest. So people need to be aware that that's a possibility. If you have things you're gonna have to do to meet those requirements, because the rules basically have been here for a while, but they haven't been enforcing them as strictly. But I think that once this all gets in place, they will be a lot more enforcement of actual having the right measurement devices and the right controls so that that water can be measured adequately. And I think it's a good thing in the future, because I think all of those things are gonna be required to meet your requirements to get your water and to measure it adequately. So I think all those things are gonna come down the pipe here in the next couple of years, so people need to be aware that there's a possibility that Southwest may be able to help them on some of these deals if they put in for some grants or something. So just to make people aware of that, that's all coming down here in the next couple of years. So, and other than that, I don't have much to report other than I guess most people have heard about the land claim in the above Mancos area in the Chicken Creek Recreation area, and we spent a couple of days up there and took a lot of my time up this last week. So other than that, I don't have much to report.
Okay. I would like to echo what Commissioner Lindsay said about the Fair Board. I do think that we have them on a correct path and some new members. So hopefully that works out, and we'll get them the training so that they have a better idea of what their responsibilities are. I think that's great. Commissioner Copenhaver, all of my thoughts and everything that I can put with you over that issue up there. I'm with you, and I think that we need more action and quicker action, and hopefully that gets taken promptly. The biggest thing I had was I spent the weekend driving up to Keystone for the Fire Commission, Colorado Fire Commission meeting. Went over a lot of topics: administrative updates, legislative, insurance updates, wildfire resiliency code board. This one, which will impact us probably the most, is because they are still in the process of establishing the plans for the WUI, and those will have to be adopted sometime in January of '26. So again, my concern is, who's going to enforce these? What are they, and how are they going to impact us as a county? But the language is being prepared right now for the final, and hopefully we'll have something to look at in the next month or two. Our next meeting will be in Pueblo in January. They did say that they have 5 legislative bills that are going to be presented this year for wildfire matters. One is going to be a pilot program with Lockheed Martin on fuels modeling, because some of the fuels modeling that they have is not current enough. Immunity for egress in an event. Basically, if somebody has to get across your property because there was an event, they can't get out in any other way. There's immunity for basically trespass. Continued wildfire workforce in the forestry, and again, working on prescribed fire, which is basically for the DFPC to do it would be on private ground, because the federal partners that we all have do their own prescribed fires anyway. And then the last hour and a half, I was talking a little bit about this morning, was funding needs, creative funding sources, and opportunities for the DFPC, because the state, again, has significant shortfalls through the JBC, and where will they or where will they not go? So anyway, the roads cleared up, and I had mostly dry roads coming home last night, but other than that, that's all that I have. Kim, do you have anything?
Yes, gentlemen, I did want to touch base with you and just let you know, I know I kept you apprised of the ballot issue for Director D. I just wanted you to know that we do have a plan to address that. The replacement ballots were mailed out yesterday. So those voters, and it's a small percentage, it's less than 1% of the ballots out there that are missing the question. The rest of the ballots are okay to vote. But we do have a plan to track this. It's taken a little bit of bookkeeping, but we're gonna get it fixed. So if anybody has any questions on whether they're supposed to have that question on their ballot and they don't, if they could just give us a call, or they can look at that district on the county website. So if you guys have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kim. Okay.
Motion
With
to
that-
adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this October 22nd, 2024 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.